Coming up on Inside Lehman, working for the right to live and breathe in a healthy environment. We'll show you how a drive for environmental justice aims to clear the air in the Bronx.
Plus, it's a loud world, but you may be the reason why your eardrums are taking a beating. We'll examine why the music you're enjoying now may leave your ears ringing in the future.
We'll meet a driven young man who succeeds in his language studies without a single spoken word.
And how do you really make it in the world of modern dance? It's much harder than it looks.
So sit back and relax because Inside Lehman starts now.
Hello, and welcome to Inside Lehman. I'm Laura Bowden.
And I'm Maurice Mercado. There are many theories behind the causes for asthma, but how close a person lives to the sources of pollution can be a major factor.
Inside Lehman's Nicole Rodriguez tells us about a study that seeks to bring environmental justice to the Bronx.
This breathtaking disease hits hard in the Bronx, where statistics clearly show certain areas have extremely high rates of asthma. Professor Juliana Monte of the Lehman College Department of Environmental, Geographic, and Geological Studies is using her scientific knowledge to provide hard evidence.
When you talk about air quality in a particular borough, you have to realize the influences come from not only within the borough, but from outside of the state, sometime outside of the continental U.S.
Using the Geographic Information System, Professor Monte and her team were able to identify likely asthma triggers in the Bronx, as well as which neighborhoods are most affected. The researchers have been closely monitoring asthma throughout the borough, and their work has produced interesting results.
On the Asthma and Air Pollution Project, we took all the disparate data that we needed in order to analyze this issue. We had all the major pollution sources and we plotted them on the map.
The research indicates that the air quality of certain areas in the South Bronx has been adversely affected by high levels of airborne contaminants.
We spoke with some people who live in the Bronx and have had their share of struggles avoiding asthma attacks.
Your chest just feels really tight as I attack, and you just take shorter breaths and everything. It makes it really hard to breathe.
Just the shift in the air and everything would definitely contribute to how I would perform. So it didn't really work for me, so that's why I stopped running, because it wasn't fun anymore.
I didn't overcome asthma. It's just something you have to live with. We walk side by side with each other. It's my partner for life.
Dr. Strelnick is the director of the Institute for Community and Collaborative Health. He and Professor Monte have been working together to analyze the data. This is a joint venture of Montefiore Medical Center and the Albert Einstein School of Medicine.
I believe that there's many reasons for why the Bronx has such a heavy burden of asthma. Asthma is related to poverty. Now, what elements of poverty? It's the quality of the housing, it's the quality of the environment.
The rate of poverty in certain Bronx neighborhoods is also believed to be a major factor. Carlos Alice, who suffers from asthma and identifies himself as an environmental activist, challenges common theories.
When we do scientific research, we can not only take the technical and scientific part of that, we need to understand the socio-economic conditions that create that situation in the first place. Because if we don't understand that, we cannot change that.
I hope that it really does influence policy and make people think about what they do. And as we were talking earlier, it's easy to blame, the big bad factories and the bigger facilities, but it's all of us. It's all of us together that are contributing to poor air quality. And everyone can do their bit to live in a more sustainable and healthy way.
Tracking down the suspected causes of asthma in the Bronx has been a mission for activists. They're hoping that the notion of environmental justice will continue on, thus providing opportunities for these neighborhood residents to work, play, and live in a healthy, clean, and green environment. Nicole Rodriguez, Inside Lehman.
Noise-induced hearing loss is a permanent injury millions of Americans face every day. An ironic twist to this issue is that many of those at high risk of hearing damage are causing their own problems. Inside Lehman's Dominic Gregory has the story.
Noise, a fact of city life. The proliferation of portable music devices, especially in the past decade, has given people a way to temporarily escape the loud sounds of the city. Take a ride on a train, a walk in the park, or just head outside your door, and chances are you will see at least a few people who are plugged in, earbuds delivering tunes new and old. The practice of listening to music while in transit is especially popular among young people, but a closer look at their music players reveals cause for concern. The problem isn't what they are listening to, but how loud. Professor Sandra Levy and the students from the Department of Speech, Language, Hearing Sciences have conducted a study addressing this very issue. The results are not encouraging.
We, at the end, measured about over 200 students on the Lehman College campus, and the 200 students, of the 200 students, more than 60% exceeded the normal safe listening levels.
A safe listening level is 80 decibels at most, an exposure for no longer than an hour and a half. You are susceptible to noise-induced hearing loss if you exceed these limits.
Well, noise-induced hearing loss is basically a mild hearing loss. It can go from mild to severe when loud noises are introduced into the ear. Basically, loud sounds damaging the hair cells in your ears. There are sensory cells that trigger the brain that a sound is being introduced once the sound comes into the ear.
One of the big issues with noise-induced hearing loss is that once it occurs, once you lose your hearing because of it, it's gone forever. You're not getting it back.
But your music player is not the only emitter of potentially dangerous sound levels. In fact, most of the sources of loud city sounds reach dangerous levels, things we've been living with for decades, including car horns, trains, construction equipment. So, exactly how loud is the world around you?
What we're hearing on the street now is about, as you can see, is about 60 decibels, 60, 70 decibels. This is still safe listening. Anything under 80 decibels is safe listening. So right now, we're getting a measurement of the train going overhead. And you can see the sound level meter, a little closer. What you can see is the sound level meter is measuring about 90. That as the train passes, the sound goes lower and lower and lower and lower. So we got about a 30 decibel difference between the train passing and the ordinary street noise.
Since people generally listen to music to block out distractions and annoyances, as well as to immerse themselves in the sounds of their favorite artists, the loud world around them makes the problem even worse. When loud background noise is present, people tend to raise the volume of their portable music devices up past the 80 decibel level so that they can hear the music clearly. It's a recipe for disaster. But how can you listen at a safe level if you cannot translate the volume into decibels? It's actually quite simple.
You can tell you're at a safe level if you can hear what's going on around your conversation. And you know you're listening at a dangerous level if after you've been listening, you sound like you have cotton, it sounds like you have cotton in your ears, or you hear ringing in your ears. Then you know you're listening too loud.
Young adults are not the only ones who can suffer from noise-induced hearing loss. A special type of hearing loss, called minimum hearing loss, can lead to developmental damage in children.
Sounds that are affected are high-frequency sounds, because this is a high-frequency hearing loss. So it hits sounds like f, s, sh. Those are the high-frequency sounds. If you don't hear those sounds, you're not going to be able to identify them. What a child has to do when a child is learning, a child has to hear a sound, and the sound they hear, they map with a sound that's in a word in front of them.
This type of hearing loss often goes undiagnosed in children because it starts early in their life and is gradual. Children might be misidentified as having an attention problem rather than a hearing problem.
And it's been found that kids, even with a minimal hearing loss of 25 decibels, have reading problems, comprehension, understanding problems. They tend to fail grades. They're found to be at least placed one grade behind. These are kids who are also reporting feeling socially isolated. They're not hearing their friends.
If awareness is not raised about the issue, this country could be looking at a possible epidemic of noise-induced hearing loss in the future generation.
It's important that we have prevention campaigns. It would be nice to have prevention campaigns on the subway and signs, things like that. It would be nice.
But probably the best prevention of noise-induced hearing loss is you. Turn down the volume of your music, the television, video games, and anything else loud. You are the only one who can protect your hearing. Don't throw your hearing away, because once it's gone, it's gone. Dominic Gregory, Inside Lehman.
Still ahead on Inside Lehman, a young man overcomes some unique challenges in his language studies, and the student also becomes the teacher.
Plus, what do you do when you're looking for good food but cash flow is an issue? We'll show you how you can enjoy a tasty and healthy diet without breaking the bank.
Travel the world.
Learn new languages.
Meet new people.
Can you believe all this and more?
Starts right here.
At Lehman.
Study abroad. Welcome back to Inside Lehman. You know, Maurice, sometimes a problem that seems impossible can be solved creatively, surpassing expectations.
Inside Lehman's Davi Santos introduces us to 3 students who came together to solve a problem and in doing so, got as much as they gave.
Meet Nae Ri-yoon.
My major is Korean education, so I took a lot of education classes in my country and in Lehman, but I didn't have any practical experience like this.
Nae Ri-yoon is an exchange student from Korea. Her teacher training has been entirely theoretical, so she wants real teaching experience before returning home. And this is Jinny Lee. Jinny, who also wants to teach, already has experience as an in-class teaching assistant, and she's eager to apply her skills in Korean, her first language.
I tutor math and I tutor Japanese. Tutoring Japanese came very close to tutoring Korean. So for me, tutoring Korean was so similar to tutoring Japanese.
Enter Henry Chang, a Lehman College student. In order to graduate, he needs to fulfill his foreign language requirements, but he faces a significant challenge. An accident several years ago robbed Henry of his ability to speak. The question is, how to craft an academic course that would fit Henry's circumstances? The solution? An independent study program of the Korean language designed by the Department of Languages and Literatures. As the son of Korean immigrants, Henry communicates with family and friends in Korean, but had not planned to use the language for professional purposes and was less than optimistic at the thought of mastering the language.
I honestly thought I wasn't going to learn Jack.
Jinny and Nae Ri teamed up to teach Henry's class in Korean, allowing Jinny to use her professional skills while simultaneously enhancing Nae Ri's real-world application of teaching theory to Henry's situation. Little did they know how well this could work for all 3 of them.
Being that I have a good relationship with him helps them to understand the material better and encourage him to do his work.
Henry was convinced he was going to fail. As he expressed his thoughts through a keyboard device, Jinny read them out loud to us.
I was a troublemaker, and didn't even graduate from high school. I dropped out at age 15, got my GED at 17. I was looking into getting a job at a bank.
In order to complete his degree, Henry was going to have to fulfill certain requirements.
Before I met him, I never imagined that I could be teacher with students like Henry, special cases. Even though I took a special education class in my country, I just knew like only theory.
It didn't take long before they were all on the same page. The team worked better than anticipated. Both Ginny and Neri had an opportunity to apply their research to their teaching skills, and Henry was able to satisfy his language requirement in a way that enhances his degree in business.
So therefore, I will find a job. I promise you that.
Henry has since graduated. This experience reminds us that we're often limited only by our own hesitations to think outside the box. I'm Davi Santos, inside Lehman.
It might seem that maintaining a healthy diet on a budget would be impossible, but with some planning and some thoughtful shopping, it's a lot easier than you think. Inside Lehman's Kyoko Hairston tells us more.
What's on the dinner table may often be dictated by what's on sale. For college students who shop and cook meals in their dorm rooms, prepackaged foods have the added appeal of being quick and easy to prepare. Of course, nutritional value and quality ingredients matter, but a savvy consumer needs to find the right combination without overspending.
People think that healthy foods are expensive, but that doesn't necessarily have to be true. I mean, to eat healthy, you don't only have to buy fresh fish, which could be very expensive, or lean meats, which sometimes can be expensive, but there are all kinds of foods that are healthy that are also inexpensive. So we could concentrate on that.
Bring home groceries that were purchased with a plan in mind rather than just buying whatever is on the shelf at the lowest price is the right way to get started. Sometimes it's just a matter of buying the right type of packaging.
For breakfast, people can buy 2-pound containers of oatmeal for $2 or $3, and that can give you, lots of meals because you only need like a half a cup of the dry oatmeal to make a serving, or even less, and you just mix it with milk or water, and you've got a hot meal that's high in fiber. You can add nuts or raisins or other dried fruits that people like, and it's very inexpensive and it's really tasty and very healthy.
For students though, taking the time to organize and shop isn't always easy.
I feel that it's difficult to eat on a budget because most of the healthy food is very expensive.
For me, I'm like real busy, got a lot of stuff going on, and just between classes, you just don't have the time to go home and cook yourself a good, healthy meal.
My mother cooked for me. It was healthy meals. I was a lot calmer. But now, it's just like high sodium, high MSG, high fat. It definitely does affect my mood. I'm much crankier when I eat the way I eat.
So you just, if you're out driving, you see a McDonald's and you drive through and you get something, or, a Taco Bell, my favorite.
Well, if you're eating a lot of animal fat, we're very concerned because animal fat tends to be high in saturated fat, tends to be high in cholesterol.
Since animal fats tend to be high in saturated fat and high in cholesterol, you'll notice a difference in how good you feel when you choose to eat more fruits and vegetables. Research repeatedly shows that these are the foods that help protect people against aging, cancer, diabetes, and other illnesses prevalent in our population.
You can simply put in a recipe, with whole grains or fruits and vegetables. You want to make something, you can Google it and get a whole slew of recipes to teach you how to make. There are videos on YouTube that show you step by step how to make certain foods. So you can just learn a little about food preparation and stay out of fast food places and eat less at restaurants because they're too tempting to eat too much.
I would definitely be interested in learning ways to just, make quicker, easy, healthy meals.
A local fruit stand in your neighborhood will have a wide array of fruits and veggies at affordable prices. As an experiment, RJ and Andre tried cooking a quick, healthy, and economical pasta and broccoli dish with a recipe that they found on the internet. This meal can be cooked for under $10 and can provide for 6 or 7 healthy servings. That adds up to less than $2 a plate.
Normally, at the end of a segment where cooking is involved, it's customary to show the subjects eating and enjoying the meal. But as busy college students, the guys had to eat and run. And as you can see, they were nice enough to leave me a plate, and trust me, it's really good, and it tastes even better knowing that it costs under $10 to prepare several helpings of a healthy meal like this. Kyoko Hairston, Inside Lehman.
Coming up on Inside Lehman. On your feet, it's time to go to work. We'll get an inside look at what it takes to really make it in the world of the professional dancer. Dance is an art form that requires discipline, motivation, and a great deal of commitment. But what does it really take to make it as a dancer? Inside Lehman's Anne Andre gives us a backstage pass.
While dancers come in all shapes and sizes, they all bring unique talents to the stage. Their inspiration comes from many places, as in this contemporary dance performance, which was inspired by the tragedy of the earthquake that struck Haiti.
If Mother Nature just decides to shrug her shoulders, mountains fall. So I think that level of resilience of being able to return to one's former glory, or at least try to, was what inspired the piece.
This dance was demanding, especially since some of these performers were exploring this type of dance for the first time. To make it as a successful dancer, you have to have diversified skills. Dancers must stay up to date with new styles and moves. Michael Manswell teaches dance at Lehman College, and he is also the artistic director of the Brooklyn-based Something Positive Performing Arts Organization. He gets results by establishing a professional relationship with his students and helping them find their talents.
I think the definition of a dancer is to excel in different types of genres, as well as giving an expression to the audience and conveying a powerful message.
I dance not only when I'm on stage, but just getting out the bed sometimes just to stretch, because it's something that is consistently with me.
Before a dancer can expect to perform in front of an audience, there is choreography. Developing routines and knowing how to quickly pick up and accurately retain what is learned are very important factors in making it as a dancer. Lehman College professor Amy Larimer brought it all to the stage, directing a modern dance performance with work from both Michael Manswell and guest choreographer Nicholas Leichter. A professional dancer herself, she enjoys establishing relationships between dance students and people who are already out there in the professional world, while also introducing the two choreographers to up-and-coming talent.
There's a fusion of dance techniques there, so it's kind of a mix, which I really enjoy, and that's definitely a direction that the dance world is going in, towards fusing a lot of different dance styles.
There's a lot of working with the body. There's much interest right now in alignment work, in body work, in physical therapy, and all of that is part of what I would call like the dance stew as well.
Although the process of becoming a dancer and performer can be long and rigorous, It's the rewards that journey brings that make it all worthwhile.
To me, to be a dancer means freeing myself, freedom. That's like the only freedom I think possible in the world when you follow what you love, your passion.
Dance is a way of expressing myself and sharing the way how I see the world with the people who watch my dance.
Finding work after being a dance student will take time and effort. But Professor Larimer expects these young performers will be able to do well through their hard work and commitment.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of training in dance. There's a famous quote by Martha Graham who says it takes 10 years to be a dancer, and I think that it takes at least that long.
The commitment can be there, the drive can be there, the technique can be there. The question is, are the opportunities there?
Backstage, we had an insider's look at the many aspects that make up dance.
It is the job of the dancer to stay out there, stay committed, stay focused, don't give up.
You have to have a little diva in you to really be able to go out there and sell it and own it.
It is, right now, it's a combination of dance and theater. It's very exciting. We're trying to weave together some of these different disciplines into one major so that when the dancers come out of here, they really have a background in both disciplines and are good performers as well as good dance technicians.
Keeping an open mind to learning new things and a watchful eye on what's happening in the professional world are the keys to success. Anne Andre, Inside Lehman.
And that's our show. Like always, we want to thank our talented reporters and producers for all their hard work.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for more news from Inside Lehman.